My friend Daniel Jeremiah, co-host along with Bucky Brooks of the Move the Six podcast that's must listen to and everything that he says on NFL Network. Also, the radio voice with Matt Money Smith locally here in Los Angeles of the Los Angeles Chargers. How are you, DJ?
I'm doing great. Rich, what's going on, man?
What did you think of last night's Monday Night Football game? Daniel, what do you take from that?
I was very thankful for the Peyton Eli watch last night. That's why that broadcast is perfect, because you can get kind of a stinker of a game, and yet it's still entertaining. Just listen to those guys, especially when Drew Brees got on there, just telling stories. Tom was great when he was on there. So I was much more entertained by the conversation than I was whatever was taking place on the field.
How do you think defensive players take Tom calling him like dogs chasing chasing a car or a meat truck or something like that? See ball, go get ball? What do you think?
As an offensive guy, I loved it because I thought it was hilarious. We used to always joke in draft meetings, Rich. We'd be in there, and we'd be talking about a defensive lineman, and a scout might go, but we have some, there's some questions about his, learning issues or, intelligence, this, that, or the other. And I remember one of the old scouts in the room saying, look, it's shade right, shade left. Get up the field. It ain't that hard. Okay, let's not pretend like we need to have Albert Einstein playing defensive line now.
Yeah. And what do you think? What do you think Jeff Saturday thinks when he hears Manning say he'd like the double tap? Yeah, the double butt tap. He liked the double butt tap in a silent snap count. What do you think? Wherever Saturday was sitting.
I think there was probably a subtle chuckle. I think he probably got a little chuckle out of that.
So where do the Saints?
But it was better. I mean, are we crazy? That was better than the game.
Yeah. You know what? I do love the Manningcast, Daniel. I really do. My kids missed it too. They were like, "Oh, they're back on." Like they came strolling into the room and they
Marshawn Lynch dropped an F-bomb.
Yeah, he did.
Come on.
I mean, Marshawn did drop the F-bomb. So these things happen when you put Marshawn on live television. I mean,
of course.
So that's your mode of viewing choice. Monday night.
Yeah. No, I've enjoyed that. No, I'm always picking up my son from junior high football, so I always miss a good portion of the first half of the game. So I missed the Marshawn stuff.
Yeah.
But then I got in and watched the rest. Probably good because my wife I probably would have got vetoed on that.
Earmuffs. Yes. Earmuffs and Skittles when he was on. So where do the Saints go from here? I said to open the show that the fact that they're 4-2, everything that they've gone through with Michael Thomas, we assume on the horizon to return. I still don't know what what they are on offense with just Jameis dumping it off to Kamara. That's unstoppable. It seemed last night. What is your more eye in the sky, all 22 assessment of what the Saints are and who they are?
Well, I think they are still a dangerous team, and I think you saw, Davenport, I thought was impressive last night with his speed-power combination. We know what Cam Jordan is. I think Passanio had a sack. They've got a chance to have a defensive front that can keep you in just about every game. So that's encouraging from that side of things. And you hope Michael Thomas gets back, you have just enough offense. Now, I don't think if they were to find themselves in shootouts with the Cowboys or the Bucks in a postseason atmosphere that's going to end well for them. But I don't think they're going to play many shootouts. I think their defense has a chance to keep them in just about every game. I still think the Bucks are the class, of that division. But I think the Saints can be a playoff team. It's not going to be as easy on the eyes as it's been in years past with Drew Brees, but that's Sean Payton. That's why he's a good coach. He's finding a different formula to win games.
And the Seahawks, Daniel, what's their way out, I guess, here? They got Jacksonville and then a bye, and then hopefully Russ returns, and they go into the final half of the regular season at 3-5 in a division topped by a team that's currently 5 games in front of them, 7 games in. What's your assessment of the Seahawks here, DJ?
Well, they're not winning the division. That ship sailed. But I don't know. Without Russell Wilson, and we can just kind of say flippantly, well, okay, you beat the Jags. I don't think that's a done deal. I think the Jags are coming off a bye, right, because they were just in London.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll be coming off a bye. They'll be rested. The Jags, if you take Russell Wilson out of the equation, I can make a strong argument the Jags are a more talented team than the Seahawks.
Wow.
Russell Wilson has been, I always use the phrase like the Febreze. Like he's just kind of made all that other smell go away on their roster. And now you take him out of their roster. It's a chore. I mean, you have the one big play to DK Metcalf, but it's a chore for them getting first downs. The roster's not very good. And that's why I wouldn't give them that Jags game. And you come out of that thing, now you're, what would that make them, 2-6? I mean, you're going to have to play darn near flawless when he comes back to get where you need to be. I mean, that's going to be difficult.
Daniel Jeremiah here on the Rich Eisen Show. What have the Bengals done building a roster? What have they done that can be a blueprint, let's just say, for my Jets or anybody else, or the Lions, any team that supposedly is snake bit and has institutional managerial problems that they can't get past, or some sort of bugaboo that the Bengals clearly are on the other side of right now? What have they done, Daniel?
Well, first of all, they've picked high for a very long time.
Right.
And similar to the Cleveland Browns, right? Eventually, you're just going to overwhelm people because you're going to have talent. You're going to have premier players at the premier positions. Joe Burrow is everything and more, what we thought he was going to be. He's an assassin, man. So you've got him. We always talk about with offense, you look at those 3 Ps, right? You look at protection, you look at playmakers, you look at play callers to put that around your quarterback. I think they've got a really good play caller who brings in a tried and true system. I think they've done a nice job with that offensive line. It's not where it needs to be yet, but they've made some upgrades over the last few years. They've gotten better there. And then, you've got a premier young quarterback and the premier young receiver in the NFL. I mean, Jamar Chase is an absolute freak show. So, and then you've got a big time back. So they've surrounded him with a lot of skill talent. So when I look at them, and then you go to the defensive side of the ball, they've got good, solid defensive front with some edge rushers. Jesse Bates is a really good safety. So that's kind of how they've done it. Now, if you look at the Jets, it's TBD on the quarterback. I still think he's got, that game last week, you played like 12 snaps or whatever, 12 dropbacks when I watched all the tape. He did some good things in there, but they need to give him a lot more help up front. They are not good at all, especially without Mekhi Becton. So they've got to get better there, and they need to get him a true number 1 type receiver. Corey Davis is a nice number 2. I think Elijah Moore's got a chance to be a good player. But that's the other area on that. And then on the defensive side of the ball, I mean, they were going to be a front-to-back defense, and you lose Carl Lawson, who was your best pass rusher, and I don't think the interior guys are quite playing up to their capabilities right now. So that's where those issues are, and they're so young in the secondary. That's going to get exposed if you're not getting pressure up front, and it surely did the other day.
Well, I mean, you mentioned Burrow being an assassin. I mean, 400 yards passing against a defense that made Justin Herbert, as Marshall Faulk used the line here last week, turned Herbert into A-Bear, is what he said, which is one of my favorite lines I've heard. Yeah. So I guess, and you saw that firsthand with what happened to the Chargers in Baltimore. So when you say
I didn't understand that, Rich, I still don't understand that. Like I came into that game and I watched the tape of the Ravens defense, and I watched Derek Carr torch them, and then I watched Carson Wentz torch them. And then coming to that game, and I thought Herbert would go off and the Chargers passing game would go off, and it just didn't. They just had a clunker of a game. And then you come out the next week and Joe Burrow torches them. So I think the Ravens have major issues in their secondary, and for some reason the Chargers just weren't able to capitalize on it that day.
Daniel Jeremiah here on the Rich Eisen Show. So the Chargers are now coming off of their bye, taking on New England, and the Raiders. That's what I said as soon as this whole thing with Gruden happened. # let Mayock cook. They put in Rich Bisaccia, and they seem better. They seem better. Do they seem like the best team in the AFC West to you, the Raiders?
They are playing. They are playing at a very high level right now, Rich. It's hard for me to say they're the best because I was in the building when the Chargers got after them. Mm-hmm. But the way that they are playing the last 2 weeks, I think this is officially Derek Carr's team. As long as Gruden was there, he was going to be the face of the Raiders. It's Jon Gruden's team. And I was anxious to see how Derek would take that. It's just basically, he's been handed the keys to the car, no pun intended. And he's played as good the last 2 weeks as I've ever seen him play. I mean, he's having a good year. He's taken it to a whole new level. His just confidence that he's playing with, the understanding, the accuracy, everything he's done has been outstanding. So if he's playing like that, yeah, I mean, they're not just a contender inside the division; they're a contender much beyond that. So that's been impressive to see how they've handled that. And I think there is kind of with Gruden, you get some of the genius aspect of it, but you also get a lot of chaos and a lot of tension. And I think, and not even talking about what happened in this whole episode, I'm just saying he's a tornado. And now I think it's a very calming atmosphere with Bisaccia in charge. And I think we've seen that a lot of guys, prefer that environment, and they're thriving.
What about X's and O's? What about all 22? How are they? Is it different without Gruden and it's Greg Olsen calling the plays here? How different?
Yeah, I have to look at the next gen stat numbers to get it confirmed, but it seems to me like there's a little less shifting and motioning, and they've kind of dialed some of that stuff back a little bit. There's ways that they'll actually give you the numbers on that. That's a good idea. I'll look that up.
Okay.
But everything just seems to be a little bit simplified. I think, I heard David Carr talking about that the other day, in his observations, talking about how they've made things a little simpler for everybody to play faster. And that shows up when you watch the tape. I just thought it was just, the ball's coming out. He knows exactly where to go, and it's just really, really efficient. So, and to do that without Waller, who's their best offensive player, even more impressive.
A few more minutes left with Daniel Jeremiah here on the Rich Eisen Show. So Davante Adams is apparently in danger of missing Thursday Night Football, having tested positive for COVID. All reports are that he is fully vaccinated, so it could be just he needs 2 negative tests. It looks doubtful. Let's just put it that way, as somebody who's had a breakthrough case myself. How does that affect things? How do you think Thursday Night Football plays out now that we're looking over the steering wheel to week number 8? And this could be eventually the difference as to who hosts a championship game and who does not, depending on how everything breaks. Clearly.
Yeah, I mean, everything kind of points towards the Cardinals, and I picked the Cardinals in this when you had to turn those in. And then, which, by the way, I'm going to tell you a great predicting score story right after this. But
okay.
I get this thought, though, Rich. You know Aaron Rodgers. I mean, it's almost like there's times where he's so good he can get a little bored. I almost think this one is like it's almost like he's gonna tie one arm behind his back, no Davante Adams, and then let me just go show you guys how good I am. I'm gonna go out here and beat the undefeated Arizona Cardinals on the road. I mean, it feels like we're kind of set up for that.
Yeah, well, I mean, Chandler Jones is coming back. I mean, that would be a heck of a unit to do it in front of, because I think I'm through, and J.J. Watt could be picked up on an NFL Films mic saying that he's already sick of the whole concept of are the Cardinals for real? Like, damn straight they are. I mean, like, this is we wouldn't be questioning another team that's 7-0. I mean, we're all kind of trying to wrap our arms around the fact that the Bengals and the Cardinals are top seeded currently through 7 weeks. You are what you are, as Parcells said, and what these teams are threats, considerable threats.
All right. Can I make my picking games confession here?
Yes, sir. Of course.
So, NFL media, they I guess this goes on YouTube every week and on the website where it's all the quote unquote expert picks for the games. And you see these all get retweeted after the games are over, right? Mm-hmm. And for it to live longer, you want the content to live as long as it can. It's not evergreen when you're picking games.
Correct.
They want that to go up on Tuesdays. Mind you, we haven't seen an injury report yet. Like, there's no way to feel good about a selection of a Sunday game on a Tuesday.
That's
but
correct.
It's the way of the world. You got to get it up. So I've got Tuesdays are a busy day. I've got podcasts. I've got some Amazon stuff. I got some Chargers stuff. And so I get these emails or these text messages. Hey, we got to pick the games. You got to pick the games. Can you please pick the games? Can you please turn in the games? And I'm like, you know what? Finally, last week, I'm like, I've had enough. I said, give me the Cardinals 45-10. You can pick the rest. Literally what I sent, right?
Okay, yeah.
Well, my ghost picker picked the Bengals to beat the Ravens, which I was the only one out of like 15 experts to pick the Bengals to beat the Ravens. The Bengals account after the game shouted me out and thanked me for being a believer in the Cincinnati Bengals. Turns out I didn't even make the pick. It wasn't even me. So I felt guilty. I'm carrying around all this guilt for all this love and praise that I'm getting, and it was a ghost pick.
A ghost pick. Wow. I like it. A ghost pick. You want to, who's your ghost picker? Because I'd like to.
Shoppy did a wonderful job on that. I told him, I sent him a text after the game. I also apparently picked the Titans to beat the Chiefs.
You're really good at it, man. You're good at this, Daniel. Daniel, you're really, really good at this. So let's be honest. Did you see your picks by your ghost picker and go, "What are you doing with the Bengals?" Like, did you think that? Did you at least?
I'm going to be totally honest with you, Rich. The first time I was aware that I had picked the Bengals was when the Bengals account tweeted out that I had picked the Bengals.
Last one for you, Daniel. Do you think the guy who got the Mike Evans handed the football to, the 600th touchdown pass of Brady's career football to, do you think he should have held out for more, like Brockman and TJ here think that he should have gotten a heck of a lot more?
And Tom Brady, by the way, thinks that.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh my gosh. I'm just imagining little Brockman on Christmas opening up his presents with a frown on his face that he didn't get, 5 Nintendo games that he thought he deserved. Like,
that's coming.
Come on, let's stop being greedy here. Let's just be thankful.
Yes,
that's a good deal. That's a lot he took away from that, and he doesn't have the animus of his favorite player. I mean, you go out there and you ask for too much. Like, how would you like to live the rest of your life as a Bucs fan, knowing that Tom Brady thinks you're a jerk?
Great question, Daniel. That's what I said yesterday. And this is before I found out he got a Bitcoin, too. A Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I mean, come on now.
$3K.
I had to actually look that up, what a Bitcoin cost. I had to look that one up.
Rich is hip, DJ.
Seriously, you guys know exactly down how much a Bitcoin is.
Rich,
you guys know that?
I checked that price 15 times.
Why? Do you have one?
Yeah.
Jeez. Tu salud.
Hey.
Okay, very good. You don't have one, TJ, right? Del Tufo?
I do not. I
am invested I'm invested in some cryptocurrency.
I've got some GBTC stock, which is like some type of a crypto thing.
That's the Bitcoin trust. You're in.
Never been on.
That's the trust, DJ. You're good.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
I have some coins from Europe.
Okay, there you go.
If that counts.
You got a euro. Dude in Tampa's got a Bitcoin. TJ's got a euro. There you go. That's your up to speed. All right. Hey, man, congrats on your great Bengals pick. Very proud of you. Very proud of you.
A lot of research, a lot of study, and it's what separates the men from the boys, right?
Take care of yourself, Daniel Jeremiah. Thanks for the call.
Thanks, guys.
You bet. Check out Move the Sticks, the podcast with Daniel Jeremiah and Bucky Brooks. And then, of course, the Twitter account, Instagram account, at Move the Sticks for DJ right here on The Rich Eisen Show. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.